Welcome to another episode of Potion Sword Run, where I talk anything and everything about video games. I'm the original Seed, and today I'll be talking to you about Xbox Series X and whether or not it's really a next-gen console. And I'm hoping that after this video, I can put that question to rest, at least for you, my viewers and subscribers. In this video, I'll be going over a short clip from Youtuber Dee BATCH showing off the quick resume function on the Xbox Series S. I'll also be going over statements from game developer Gavin Stevens from Team Blur Games about the subject. And I'll finish off with raw footage of Gears of War 5 running on Xbox Series S. And it'll give you a view of what you can expect jumping into next gen if you choose to buy the Xbox Series S. So Dee BATCH here starts his video with Star Wars Fallen Jedi, and it's pretty much just showing regular gameplay as you would to jump into a game. And as you can see from the beginning, it didn't really take so long to jump in from the dashboard. Now he's going to switch into Minecraft dungeons, and here is how long it takes for it to actually load. Boom, pretty much less than seconds. Gotta time it. So pretty much you jumped in from one game to the other, but you're saying, hey, that's only 2 games, the Xbox One X can do that too. Well, let's see how fast it is he can jump into what? Black? No, he's gonna jump into Skate. 1001, 1002, like about 5 seconds, guys. In 5 seconds, he was able to jump into 3 damn games. Now, a lot of you guys might be saying this is not next gen. All he's really doing is jumping in from game to game. Well, I want you to tell me what current system that we have now is able to jump in between 9 games within a reasonable amount of time, seconds. He just jumped into what is this, Black? And he's jumping in between games from the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. And there he goes, resuming back where he left off on Jedi Fallen Order. And it ain't like he's stuttering or anything. It ain't like he has to load a little bit. He just resumes exactly where he left off. If you're anything like me, you play more than one game at once. So being able to jump in between games and not having to wait to load is huge. That's one of the main reasons why I play some games on Switch, because I'm able just to pick up and play. It's just sitting there, I start it and go. But being able to now instantly boot up a game on Xbox is pretty much the same thing if you have your Xbox running. And so now we're going to get more into the technical aspects of it from somebody who knows, game developers. And before we get into this subject, some game developers out there are voicing their concerns with it. But you gotta understand where they're coming from. Some of them might be developing games for specifically Sony, like Remedy. Others just might not want to have to do the extra workload, and there's gonna be extra workload. But it's not as much as you think. Now, according to Gavin Stevens, he answers the question if the Xbox Series S will be holding back next-gen development. And it's a long thread if you want to read it. I'll link it in the description. But we're going to jump into the spoiler part and just get down to nitty gritty. And he says, no, it's not. And anybody, even with a little experience in tech, will tell you as such. I'll go into more detail below as to why that is. But most important aspect is that it is not a last-gen console. I cannot stress that enough. So in his own words, he's even telling you that the Xbox Series S is indeed a next-gen console. He goes into it specifically, but the bottom line is that it shares the same architecture. It ain't like you're jumping in between generations where the Xbox One X and the Xbox One have different architecture. That would make development much more harder. So he continues. So will the Series X hold back next-gen gaming? No, of course not. But it seems that it's a lot of work for developers. Actually, it's really not. Usually, it's quite simple to build your assets for a set specification. For my experience in the past, currently, this all factors into your development pipeline. You make for your base system, like say the Xbox Series X, then scale it to whatever is required. As the systems are so similar, it's easy as dropping the res and a few quality settings. If you're making an Xbox Series X game and then pouring it to the Xbox One X, that would be different. With vastly different CPU power and a much slower overall system, huge changes and concessions would have to be made, and game design would be different from the off. But if you're designing a game on the same architecture with the same feature set, it's essentially the exact same principle of running a game on a GTX 2080 Ti versus a 2070, and it isn't complicated in the slightest. So essentially you're developing a game like you would a PC. The Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S are similar in architecture, so you can do that. You can scale up games and down. Yes, developers will have to create another pipeline the way they create games, but that's the way it is. That's the way they have to do it on PC. Now that's the way they gotta do it on Xbox. And now we're gonna look over some Gears of War 5 footage running on the Xbox Series S at 120 frames per second. And together we're gonna see what $299 can get you in a next gen system. And some of the things I want you to focus on as you watch this video is just how smooth it runs, how buttery smooth it runs, while keeping up the visuals. There's no hiccups. You look at the smoke effects, you look at the particle effects. So the bottom line is, when it comes to it, the Xbox Series S is definitely a next gen system that will be able to run next gen games. Now the question is, do you buy an Xbox Series S or an Xbox Series X? And it's a matter of preference, I think. If you have the TV, a 4K TV that can take advantage of the Xbox Series X, then I say go ahead and buy the X. But if your TV can only max out at 1080p and you really don't think you're gonna upgrade anytime soon, then I would probably go with the Xbox Series S, because you'll still be able to play the same games, you'll still be able to take advantage of the same architecture, but the thing is, the visuals are gonna be scaled down, as they should be, because you shouldn't be trying to run a 4K game on a TV that's not able to handle it. What is the point? All that power being wasted. And being able to run games in 4K uses a lot of power, and that is why the Xbox Series X needs it and Xbox Series S doesn't. Now anybody that works with video, anybody that works with files, download files, can tell you that a 4K file takes much more time to download. It takes much more effort for your systems, for your computer to run it. And that is why most of the time we stream games at 1080p, because it don't take that much power. But we can still run the same games, we can still run the same movies, but just scale down or scale up. So that's the way that we gotta think about it now when it comes to the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X. So for it not being a next gen system, we can put that rumor to rest. Currently there is no system that can run games at 120 frames per second smoothly all the way through. There is no other system that can have a quick resume with so many games and just jump into one of them about 5 seconds. So in the end, you gotta decide which console is best for you. Which one is gonna give you more bang for your buck, and which ones are just overkill. So don't listen to the haters, just appreciate the games that are out there for us and appreciate value when you see it. That's gonna do it for this episode. Remember, when shit hits the fan and fanboys are out there trying to burst your bubble, run.